Hi, third grade. We're going to continue in chapter 4, 4-6. And today we're going to work on reasonable answers. You wonder what a reasonable answer means. Reasonable answers are checking to see if an answer is correct by estimating or rounding, meaning once you figure out a problem, you can go back and do estimates on the add-ins or on the anything that you're doing. We're doing addition here, so if we want to check our sum of 71 to see if it's a good answer, if it's close to the real answer, if it's reasonable, then we would round the add-ins to figure out if that sum is reasonable. So let's go ahead and do that with this example that I wrote here. 53, we're going to round 53. This is 5's in the tens place. In order to decide if that stays 50 or becomes 60, we look at the number next to it. Since the number next to it is less than 5, remember our roller coaster idea that anything 5 or more goes to the bigger number. Anything 5 or less stays the number that it already is. So is this going to go to 50 or round up to 60? This one, because 3 is less than 5, is going to stay at 50. Sorry, I'm having a hard time writing with my marker today. Let's round 27. Is this going to stay in the 20s or is it going to go up to 30? The way we know is if this number is more than 5, we're going to go up to the next 10. So this is going to round to 30. 50 plus 30 equals 80. 71 is not reasonable. It's not in the 80s because 71 would round to 70. So 80 is the answer should be in the 80s. Let's go to page 227 and take a look at the first 3. Now, I kind of did some of those already, and we can talk them through. So number 24, we're going to round both of those add-ins, and then we're going to check to see if the answer, the sum that they already have here, what that would round to see if it's reasonable. So 93, I'm going to round this to 90 or bump it up to 100. But since this is a 3 and that's less than 5, it's going to round to 90. I'm going to subtract, is this going to stay in the 20s or round up to 30? Because that's a 9 and that's more than 5, it's going to be 30. So 90 minus 30 would be 60. Would this answer, 64, round to 60? Let me check. 4 is less than 5, so this stays 60. So number 24 is yes, a reasonable answer. 25. I'm still going to round in the tens, even though I'm in the hundreds. So let's round 113. This 1 is in the tens place. Is it going to stay 110 or is it going to go to 120? Because 3 is less than 5, it's going to round to 110. Then I'm going to round 57. Is it going to, I'm asking myself, is that going to stay 50s or is it going to go to 60? Because 7 is more than 5, that's going to go to 60. When I take those estimates, that's an addition problem, so my answer should round to 170. The answer they have is 140, so this is a not reasonable answer. There's an error somewhere in that question. This one, 26, I'm going to round 83 and keep it at 80 because the 3 is less than 5. 19 is either going to stay 10 or 20, and because 9 is more than 5, this is going to round to 20. So this rounds to an answer of 100. Look at 102. Would you round that to 100 or would you go to 110? Since this is a 0, is that going to stay a 0 or become a 1? 2 is less than 5, so that's going to stay a 0. Pause your video and complete numbers 27 through 32. Okay, you should have paused the video and did 27 to 32. I'm going to show you the answers now. I'm just going to tell the answers quickly, and I want you to check yourself. Let me take my paper away here. All right, so we're going to look at the last 6 problems. 27, you should have done 340 plus 260 is 600. And then checked that 594 would round to 600. So 27 is reasonable, yes. 28, round that to 440 and subtract 160. The answer is 280, so that's exactly correct, yes. 29, round that to 440 plus 199, you can round to 200. The sum would be 640. This would round to 540. That's not reasonable because they made it a calculation error somewhere and they're 100 off. So the answer is no. Round 725 to 730, subtract 240, you would get 490. So this is no. This is not reasonable. They must have made a mistake here and not borrowed like they needed to. 31, round 249 to 250 plus 570. When you get the sum of that, the sum is 820. This sum that they have, 822, would round to 820. So yes, this is a reasonable answer. And 32, round 542 to 540, round 167 to 170, your difference should be around 370. This would round to 480. So this last answer is not reasonable. Good job. I hope you found that relatively easy. We'll give you some practice problems now to keep working on reasonable and not reasonable. Remember, the idea of reasonable is checking your work to see if the answer that you put is correct. Many times with estimating and rounding, you can check your work and find out that you made a calculation error. All right, now go on to the next step in your assignment.